LeBron, he's had his fair share of moments against the Celtics, Game 3 notwithstanding, who, of course, Game 6, 2011 in the Garden. But with tonight about to be his 79th career game against the Celtics, Chad Finn of the Boston Globe has an interesting column. He points out the fact that Magic Johnson only faced the Celtics a total of 39 times in his career. Obviously, 3 times in the finals, Lakers taking 2 out of 3. So he writes that LeBron James is a bigger Celtics rival than Magic Johnson ever was. You willing to go there?
I can see how he arrived at this conclusion. And some of this does depend on how you define rivalry. Like you and I debate that all the time. LeBron and the Celtics now, it isn't much of a rivalry. It's very one-sided. And maybe he's looking at it from the perspective of not only how many times they face each other and play, but what happened as a result of LeBron's dominance in the Eastern Conference. The Celtics essentially broke up. They had to retool and rebuild, and now they
LeBron went there because of the Celtics.
Exactly.
He went to Miami.
He went to Miami. He made the first chess move by going to Miami because he got tired of running against him.
Right.
And so then by being in Miami, being dominant there, he made the Celtics sort of dismantle.
And they're still bitter about that.
Exactly. He sped that process up. And oh, by the way, he took their boy, Ray Allen, who they're still mad at, and won a ring with him, which has to, you know, obviously a lot of the former Celtics are still salty about that. And now the Celtics have pretty much set up their entire future with the idea of we will be a great team, hopefully by the time LeBron James is out of his prime or is no longer as big of a factor as he is right now in the Eastern Conference. So I understand how he said that. Now, entertainment-wise, it's not the same.
Well, look, if you want to say, with all due respect to the great Magic Johnson, that LeBron is the best, there's a lot of people think he's the second best player, if not the greatest player of all time. So you want to say he's the best player they've ever faced, that's fine. He averages more points against the Celtics than anybody else, any other individual team in his career. I think 29.3 or something like that, right? But to say he's a bigger nemesis for Boston than Magic, I don't see that. Only because you're talking about LeBron has had no equal, even though Paul Pierce at one point was the closest thing he had to a rival.
He has even said that.
Right, but he has no equal in terms of caliber of player. Magic and Bird were trading best player in the world title at the time. There's a movie, The Courtship of Rivals, a documentary, HBO documentary made about that rivalry.
30 or anything about
there was a cultural component to Lakers Celtics in the 80s that the league was resurrected upon. So Magic Bird meant more than just who was better or who scored more against the Celtics than anybody else or who played the Celtics more often. Yes, LeBron has had his moments, but in terms of Celtic historic rivals, hell, I'd even put Wilt, even though Bill Russell owned them in terms of championships, I put Wilt versus Russell and then Magic and Bird ahead of LeBron versus the Celtics. As good as LeBron has been, as much as he's tormented them, I get all of that. But historically speaking, it feels like Magic and Bird meant more, along with Russell versus
and that's fair, and I agree with that. I think the purpose of the piece was to look at this more just from a pure, maybe basketball sense, less emotionally.
He's the best player they face. If you want to say that, that's fine.
And then, again, that's why I said it depends on how you define rivalry.
Yeah.
Rivalry, it's got to be a level of equality. You have to be taking things from each other, and obviously that's not the case now with LeBron and the Celtics.